East Coast hit by 4 earthquakes today, 2.1 Messina, New York, and the other 3 in Canada. In the area of the Volcano Seamount, is it releasing energy? Magnitude 2.9, magnitude 2.1, and then magnitude 1.9. This is the same direction of the East Coast Seamount. We'll take a look at them together. One of the past videos that I recently made on this, we found that there are 30 underwater volcanoes in the East Coast in that seamount that I have circled there with the 3 yellow circles at about 3 or 4 o'clock position. 30 volcanoes, and they're pressing into the East Coast from southeast to northwest, and they're basically stopping at the area that we have there around Ontario, Montreal. This is it right here. And as you can see, this is the Canadian map for the earthquakes. This is what is not shown on the USGS for some reason, but we do have USGS showing us that there is a 2.1, they say it's in New York, whereas the Canadian map shows that it's in, oh yeah, that's another quake. I got that mixed up. I thought it was, okay, this is a 2.9 in Cornwall, Ontario today, and we had, so that makes 4 earthquakes. My mistake. So this one was in upstate New York, Messina, New York. Basically, it's just across the border from Cornwall, Ontario. You know, the Thousand Islands. When we were moving from Montreal to New York, we used to pass that area, that border. That's it. This was 10.7 kilometers. This was at 18 kilometers depth. This was at UTC 2:19 in the afternoon. And this was at UTC 2:19, the same. But were they 2 different quakes? I guess so. This one is in New York, 10.7 kilometers. This one was at 18 kilometers, again at 2:19, okay? They both struck together. Amazing. Let's go see the details on that. Okay, so let's see if anybody, yeah, 8 people felt it, even though it was only a 2.1. 8 people felt it. And I would assume that more people felt this, which was a 2.9. All right, so let's go to our Google Earth. This is where they were. Messina, I guess it's just around that area. What's happening there? Well, this is Maine, and we know that Maine has 5 volcanoes, and the volcanoes are basically lined up like this. There are 4 volcanoes in 100-mile distance from each other. And basically they seem to be from this East Coast Seamount that also has over 30 volcanoes, and it seems that there is a magma area right there, and they seem to be, somehow, something is happening there. We have a tremendous amount of upticks of earthquakes in that area lately, even though they're not all showing up here. But you can see, look, that area there is the seamount area. All of this. There are volcanoes, of course, around here. There are volcanoes here, whereas there are fractures here. Okay, these are the volcanoes here, and there are fractures here, fractures from earthquakes. You can see some of them. This is from what we learned from some past videos on this subject. I'm not allowed to stitch my videos together because I have been demonetized for doing that. I'm not allowed to take pieces of my videos and put them together, unfortunately, but I'm telling you what we found. This is 30 volcanoes. Their energy is pressing this way towards the northwest, and it's stopping around here. We did have earthquakes around here. We did have earthquakes in Ontario. That's the Manicouagan impact crater, and it looks like it was a double, just off on a tangent here. It looks like it was a double whammy because it was direct hit, Manicouagan crater, and it looks like there was a double one there, just about the same size, right next to it. Maybe it was a double asteroid strike. Now, that again looks like something right there. Look at that, how perfectly round that is. You know, a lot of people have found things by looking at Google Earth. That looks like another hit right there. Supposedly around that one too, around the Younger Dryas, this was hit. About 12,800 years ago, this area was really hit. They found a lot of soot, and they thought at first it was only the northern hemisphere, the North America. Then they found it was the northern hemisphere. Then they found that it was worldwide, and it was a comet impact comet that split it into at least 7 pieces. But now we're going off on a tangent. Anyway, this pressure is coming in here and stopping at the shield that is around Hudson Bay. It's stopping at this shield, and it's clogged. It just stops there. The energy somehow stops around there. And we have had earthquakes there recently, even though they're not all pinned here, and especially not on USGS, they're not all pinned. Anyway, let's go to the details again. It has been felt, and the Tectonic Summary, the Adirondack region of upstate New York, beautiful, beautiful places. Last of the Mohicans type of scenery, beautiful. Northern New York State is one of the most seismically active parts of northeastern U.S. The 3 largest known earthquakes in the region cost about $20 million damage in 2002 to Cornwall, Ontario, and to Messina, New York in 1944, magnitude 5.8. So you can understand how big these earthquakes are. They caused slight damage to a sparsely settled part of the southern Adirondack Mountains in 1983 with a magnitude 4.9, and damaged the vicinity of Plattsburgh, New York. On April 20th, 2002, a magnitude 5. Moderately damaging earthquakes strike somewhere in the region every few decades, and smaller earthquakes are felt about once every 3 to 4 years. Earthquakes in central and eastern U.S., although less frequent than in western, are typically felt over a much broader region. East of the Rockies, an earthquake can be felt over an area as much as 10 times larger than a similar magnitude earthquake on the west coast. A magnitude 4 eastern U.S. quake typically can be felt at many places as far as 60 miles from where it occurred, and it infrequently causes damage near its source. Magnitude 5.5 eastern U.S. earthquake usually can be felt as far as 300 miles from where it occurred, sometimes causing damage as far away as 25 miles. The faults. Earthquakes everywhere occur on faults within bedrock, usually miles deep. Most of the Adirondack region bedrock was formed as several generations of mountains rose and were eroded down again over the last billion years or so. The well-studied plate boundaries like San Andreas in California, often scientists can determine the name of the specific fault responsible for the earthquake, but that's not the case here in the East Coast. The Adirondack region is far from the nearest plate boundaries, which are in the center of the Atlantic Ocean and Caribbean Sea. The region is laced with known faults, but numerous smaller or deeper buried faults remain undetected. Even the known faults are poorly located at eastern earthquake depths. Accordingly, few Adirondack earthquakes can be linked to named faults. It's difficult to determine if a fault is still active. A known fault active could slip and cause an earthquake. As in most other areas east of the Rockies, the best guide to earthquake hazards in the Adirondack region is the earthquakes themselves. I'm sorry I'm rushing, but I just don't want to forget to tell you that it's not just the New Madrid seismic zone that we have here, which goes, New Madrid, Missouri is right there. See, all my pins have come off again. Anyway, I've got a little gremlin in my Google Earth, it looks like, taking off my pins. New Madrid seismic zone, it should be called New Madrid Rift Zone because it's a rift valley. The Real Foot Rift is right here, and it goes from the Mississippi River all the way up Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, We've had a tremendous number of earthquakes lately in this region. It would be a quake swarm. Again, they took them off. Cleveland, Ohio on Lake Erie. Okay, that's again the fault, the real foot rift zone, the New Madrid seismic zone, going up this way and along the St. Lawrence Seaway. That's all New Madrid seismic zone. It's already cut here with the Mississippi. It's already cut here where the lakes are. Already cut here where the St. Lawrence Sea. It doesn't have that much to cut. And this part of the continent is going southeast. But that's not all we have here. We have the Mid-Atlantic Rift. The Mid-Continental Rift. The Mid-Continental Rift from Lake Superior about 1 billion years ago. Superior was next to Wyoming. This is Yellowstone right there. Okay? Superior and Wyoming were much closer together and they've been rifting right here. This is the Mid-Continental Rift. This is going into Superior. They found on both sides of the lake slanted rocks going into the lake, showing that it's very deep there. That's a rift. This whole lake is a rift. And you can see that's a rift. Basically, this is rifting. Kansas, volcanoes in Kansas. We have kimberlite volcanoes in Kansas, spitting out diamonds, gems, and semi-precious stones. And we have a magma plume under there, under here, under this mid-continental rift, the Keweenaw Fault. The geologists do not know where that magma body is coming from. Okay, this is something that they have not yet ascertained. Where is that magma body coming from? So all these things that you have here lately cannot all be from man-made fracking earthquakes. It looks like, people have forgotten that we have. Let's go see what we have today. Oh, look what's happening there. And for some odd reason, all these quakes have happened the past hour, the red dots. The blue are the past day. Okay, that's a big one too as well today. 3.4 in Texas. But this is the mid-continental rift right here. All this going all the way down here through Kansas to Oklahoma is the mid-continental rift. A lot of people say, okay, it's the New Madrid seismic zone. Okay, yeah, but that's false here. And there's a magma body there. Okay, there's magma under here, and they don't know where it's coming from. I'm sitting here shaking my head. Maybe we'll find out where it's coming from. I don't know if we search enough. But the geologists have said that they don't know where it's coming from. So when we talk about, the description, where were we? Yeah, when we're talking about the faults, they say, we don't know the Adirondacks, we don't know where these faults are. Okay, but you say you don't know where the faults are, but you don't say that there is also, the New Madrid seismic zone goes through there. New Madrid goes there all the way to St. Lawrence Seaway. That's a fault. So we know that's a fault. And volcanoes not far from there. And we have the undersea seamount volcanoes pressuring here, pressing. And it somehow stops the pressure around this area here. Stops at the shield that's all around Hudson Bay. And then we have the mid-continental rift that gives us quakes here. Lately we've had quakes up here. We've had quakes around Lake Michigan. Booms and cracks and earthquakes. And of course, all this, the Keweenaw Fault goes all the way down to Kansas and gives us quakes here and volcanoes. It makes sense because we have a mantle plume, magma under there, and they don't know where that comes from. But it's there. Okay, so that's the unsettling thing. All these three things happened today. Four, I should say. We had the one that's in upstate New York, Messina, New York. So that's the news there today. Who would have thought that you can get big earthquakes there that can be felt 10 times more than they are felt on the West Coast? So it's not just the West Coast that's getting earthquakes, it's also the East Coast. So you have to be careful, all of you there. I've got friends and relatives there, of course, just as I have on the West Coast. So please be careful. And I wish you all a beautiful Christmas season. It's only a few days away, and I hope you've all got your shopping done for your loved ones. And I wish you all a blessed, joyous, healthy, and prosperous Christmas and New Year. And if you can, please keep watching my videos until they get me monetized again. Please pray for the monetization because we support our church and the poverty-stricken with this as well. And also, please pray for one of my viewers who is a single mother with her little son who's going through tremendous tribulations right now. Please pray that the Lord, our Lord Jesus Christ, also helps them. Thank you for your support. God bless you all. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.